welcome, Dr. Dube. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, now we can hear Dr. Dube, so great. Okay, now Dr. Dube, you said, I know you've been here, 20 years. You left Zimbabwe at the age of 14.
No, it was a week after my 21st birthday.
After your 21st birthday. So you came to the United States at the age of 21, ready to party, I'll say. Obviously not if you are a doctor right now. But Dr. Dube, please tell us a little bit about your journey as a 21-year-old in Africa and coming to the United States. Was it always your dream to come here and become a doctor?
I guess as a kid, one grows up with all these things that they want to become: an astronaut, a physicist, a pilot, a physician. I think I was about 12 when I read the biography of Christian Barnard. Christian Barnard was a Caucasian gentleman from South Africa who was a transplant surgeon, and he performed the first successful heart transplant in, I believe it was December 3rd, 1967 at a Grooterskuur hospital in Cape Town. And that to me it was so inspiring, and just the way the story was told and how this hospital that wasn't very well funded in Cape Town, at least compared to hospitals, first world hospitals, was able to pull this off, and from then on he became an inspiration for me. I guess that's when the seed was planted, and going through high school in Zimbabwe, that was always at the forefront of my brain that I wanted to become a physician.
So did you see the opportunities, like when you were going in school in Zimbabwe? Did you see any opportunity of you becoming that?
So yes, the only problem is that Zimbabwe is a country of about 14 or 15 million, and we only had, at least when I was going through high school, we only had 2 universities in Zimbabwe, and only 1 medical school in the country. So the odds of getting in were extremely small. So imagine the state of Washington and the state of Oregon combined, the 2 populations combined, and having only 1 medical school. So it was, unfortunately, I did not get into medical school in Zimbabwe, and so I decided to come to the U.S. To try my luck here.
It's interesting that you didn't get into the medical school over there, but then you came here to try your luck, and you did.
Yes. Well,
was it easy?
No, it was not easy. It certainly was not easy. I think part of it was, as a high schooler, I was not as serious as I should have been, and so did not score high enough on the standardized tests in Zimbabwe to go to medical school. I scored high enough to get into college, and I actually started doing college in Zimbabwe, and I did it in Southern Africa. I studied software development, which we call computer science, or at least that's what it's called in Zimbabwe, software engineering. And I did that for about a little over a year and a half, and then realized that, 1, I wasn't passionate about it. 2, that's not what I wanted to do, and I guess that was a period in my life that I began to mature intellectually. I began to be more focused on what it is that I wanted to do, and what it is that I felt the world was calling me, that the world wanted out of me.
Right. I like what you said, that you didn't feel the passion. Because I believe when you are, when you're doing something, especially for your adult career, is something that you want to be passionate about, and also feel fulfilled as you do that. So when you came to the United States, where did you start?
So I started off in a small town in Texas called Corsicana, Texas. I did a year, about a little over a year of schooling there at Navarro College, and from there I moved to Michigan State University, and I spent, I think it was, I spent a semester there, and following which I transferred to Ave Maria College in Ypsilanti, Michigan,
Okay.
and in St. Mary's College, and where else did I go? University of Michigan. Eventually graduated from St. Mary's College. So I think I went to 5 schools in 4 years.
Oh, wow. So those schools, did you apply for those schools while you were in Zimbabwe, or you applied for them here?
No, so the very first school I applied when I was still in Zimbabwe, and then the other schools I went to while I was here.
While you were here.
I applied while I was here.
Okay. So then you came here and then you applied into medical school, and did you get into it right away?
No. So I took a rather long journey to get into medical school. So for my undergraduate, I was fortunate enough to meet. I used to volunteer a lot, in part because that's what we did in my family when I was in Zimbabwe. And so when I came here, I just continued that culture of volunteering. And one day, so as you may know, the Zim economy crashed in November of 1998.
Yeah, I heard about
After
that.
it crashed, my parents could no longer afford to pay for my schooling here in the U.S. And so while I was at Michigan State, I was volunteering with the Knights of Columbus and met this gentleman, Mr. Michaels. To this day, I'm very grateful to him. He's one of many people that helped me become who I am today. Anyway, he told me about Tom Monahan, who had sold his stake in Domino's Pizza.